Hi guys, good evening. Happy evening also. I'm Ilangovan, online teaching person for Axi.com, teaching for zoology. So last class we started the various macromolecules, what we have in various types of cells and tissues in the cytoplasm and also in the membrane structures. So we have classified the molecules into micromolecules as well as the macromolecules. So those molecules having a molecular weight of about 10,000 daltons, we considered as the macromolecules, the biomolecules. So now we can clear it. So we have various types of macromolecules what we studied last class. And one such molecule we have started the carbohydrates, the polysaccharide. So in a macromolecular fraction or in acid insoluble fraction, we have four types of macromolecules. One, the carbohydrates, another one, the proteins, the third one, the nucleic acids, and also we have the lipids. Though the lipids have molecular weight less than 800 daltons, they are also included in the macromolecular structure. I have given also the reason for that one. Why? Now, and the carbohydrates, we have started with the cellulose. So cellulose is a homopolymer made up of, you know that one, the glucose molecules. So like the cellulose, another plant material, the storehouse of energy in plant tissues, that is the starch. This is the second material, a polysaccharide, a macromolecule. It's normally actually a plant tissue structure, a storehouse of energy in the case of plants, but absent in the case of animal cells. And unlike the cellulose, you see that what I mentioned already, the cellulose has no ability of holding what is called the iodine. So when treated with the iodine solutions, the color will not be retained by cellulose. But unlike the cellulose, in the case of starch, when starch is treated with what is called iodine solution, it can hold the color. So the iodide starch is normally blue in color. The reason for that one, it forms helical structure like this. This is the starch, it forms helical structure. So it can hold iodine in its helices, so that it turns blue in color when treated with iodine solution. That is the main difference between just actually the starch and then cellulose. Cellulose cannot hold iodine, so that it doesn't change its color. There is no appearance of blue color. But in the case of starch, it forms a helical structure. The helical structure has pocket-like structures which can hold iodine, so that we have the starch, the one iodide starch is blue in color. This is the reason why we have the starch is blue in color when treated with iodine solution and cellulose doesn't. Then let's see the structural aspect of starch. So it is a homopolymer. I mentioned what do you mean by homopolymer. A homopolymer is the one which is being formed of the same type of monomers. So cellulose is also a homopolymer made up of glucose. So just like cellulose, starch is also composed of several glucose molecules. The unit glucose molecules are monomer. But actually the glucose molecules are found in two different mixtures. We can have, actually there are two different mixes. A mixture of two types of molecules we can see. So in the starch, the glucose molecules are found in a mixture of two types of molecules. One, amylose. Another one, amylopectin. Both are being formed of actually just glucose molecule. But the structural aspect is somewhat different. So starch is a homopolymer of glucose, but it is a mixture of two types of molecules. It's being formed of two types of molecules. That's why we can say it's a mixture of two types of molecules. One is amylose, another one amylopectin. Now what is the difference between amylose and amylopectin? So I'll show the structure, then you can understand very easily. Now you see that one, amylose and amylopectin. So amylose is a linear chain of glucose molecules. You can see here amylose, a linear chain of glucose molecules joined together by means of glycosidic linkage. And normally the starchy grain, it forms the inner core, the inner part of the starchy grain, and highly soluble in water. Amylose, a linear form, a linear chain of glucose molecules, that's number one. And if you take the amylopectin, you can see it is a highly branched form. It's a highly branched form. You see Here there is a side chain. So it is a linear form, whereas amylopectin is actually highly branched form. But in both the cases, we have only one same unit, what we have the glucose molecule, hence it is called as a homopolymer. The second difference, if you take a starch grain, the amylose forms the inner part of the starch grain, whereas the amylopectin forms the outer part of the starch grain. That's the second difference, inner part and outer part. Regarding the solubility, amylose is soluble in water, whereas amylopectin is insoluble in water. That's the main difference between amylose and amylopectin in structure. But chemically, in composition, both are being formed of only glucose, and both combine together to form the starch molecule. So, a starch is a homopolymer of glucose molecules having many glucose, but the glucose molecules are arranged in two different structures in the form of two different molecular structures. One is amylose, another one amylopectin. Amylose, unbranched linear form of glucose molecules. Here, a branched form of glucose molecules. It forms the inner part of the starch grain and soluble in water. And this is actually outer part of the starch grain and insoluble in water. So these are the two main differences what we have. Just I mentioned also here. The glucose molecules are arranged in a linear form, and secondly, it forms the inner portion of the starch grain and is soluble in water. The amylopectin, just actually, it is a branched form. The glucose molecules are arranged in a highly branched form, and it forms the outer covering of the starch grain and also insoluble in water. So that's about what is called the starch, a storehouse of energy in plant body, formed of glucose molecules, a homopolymer, arranged in two different molecules or molecular forms in its arrangement of starch, and you have amylose and amylopectin. Now let's pass on to the next part, the another polysaccharide glycogen. So unlike the cellulose and starch, glycogen is a polysaccharide found only in animals. That's why it's also called as animal starch. So we are using the word amylose and amylopectin. So the another word used for starch is called amylum. That is why the enzyme is also called as amylase. So amylum, the word used for starch. Another word for starch. That is why the enzyme used for digesting the starch is called amylase enzyme. Okay. Now let's pass on to the next polysaccharide, the macromolecule, the acid insoluble fraction, what we are getting from extracting the material from the cell or tissue while grinding. The glycogen. So it is also called as animal starch. It is a storage form energy found only in animals, not in plants. It is also actually a homopolymer, just like cellulose and starch, made up of glucose molecules, but found only in animals. Know that one largest storage of glycogen in our body is nothing but the liver. Only in two places we have actually the glycogen being stored in excess concentration. One is the liver, another one the muscle. So we have liver glycogen and muscle glycogen. Of these two, liver is the highest source of actually glycogen storage when compared to. So these are the two places where we have the glucose molecules being stored in the form of glycogen. But glycogen is most abundant mainly in the liver when compared to, that is what we have the muscles. Then in its structure, suppose if you are making a structure, if you are making a photograph of what is called glycogen, it looks like a tree. The glycogen molecule is looking like a tree with the branches. That branched structure, which is looking like a tree, was first proposed by Mayer. He was the first person proposed the structure of glycogen, which is looking like a tree with branches. See, here I will show the glycogen structure. See that one, a highly branched molecule. We have normally the glycosidic linkage is found between 1 and 4 carbon atoms between just actually the adjacent sugar molecules. The linkage is always between alpha 1 and 4 carbon atoms of the successive or adjacent glucose molecules. Whereas the side chain, the branch is formed between actually the first and sixth carbon atom of the glucose molecules. So this is a glycosidic linkage in a linear chain. The glycosidic linkage is formed between actually 1 and 4. The first carbon atom of this, the first glucose molecule, and the fourth carbon atom of the succeeding glucose molecule. Whereas in the branch, the linkage, the glycosidic linkage is formed between the first as well as the sixth carbon atom of the adjacent glucose molecules. So, in the case of starch and glycogen, starch and cellulose, we can get a linear chain, except in the case of amylopectin. So, I mentioned already in the case of glycogen, it looks like a tree. See that one? It's more or less looking like a tree with many branches. If you enlarge one branch, you can get, you see that one, the linear chain of glucose molecule, which is also highly branched. That is why, according to Mayer, glycogen is looking like a tree with many branches. It is also a homopolymer made up of many glucose molecules. And in each chain, we have the left end and the right end. So this is the left end and that is the right end of the chain. See that one, normally the right end is called as the reducing end, the left end is called as the non-reducing end. In each branch, we have the two terminus, the right end and the left end. The right end is acting as what is called a reducing end. The left end is acting as what is called a non-reducing end. Just simply you have to know that one. So, I mentioned earlier, we have large amount of glycogen storage, mainly in the liver and compared to muscles. So, only in the liver and muscles we have large concentration of glycogen, but most abundant in the liver when compared to just the muscle. This is also one of the important questions asked in the question paper. Where does normally glucose being stored? As a reserve in the form of glycogen, that is liver. From where only when there is a need, the glycogen is being broken and released into what is called the blood. So that is about something related to glycogen. This is the structural aspect, the linear chain and also the branches. The linear chain is formed by a linkage, what is called a glycosidic linkage between 1 and 4 carbon atoms of the adjacent glucose molecules. The branched one is formed, the linkage there, the glycosidic linkage between the first and the sixth carbon atoms of the two just adjacent glucose molecules. So this is the structure what I showed already. Now dextron. So cellulose, we have starch, now glycogen and now dextron. It's also another polysaccharide, closely resembling the starch and glycogen. So it is also a homopolymer. The unit is also glucose. So in cellulose, starch, glycogen and dextron, the unit or the monomer, the simple sugar is nothing but glucose. So it is a polymer of glucose 1. So it is one of the important material that is being used clinically, very important just material used at times of blood loss. So it is being used as a substitute when there is a situation involving heavy loss of blood or extensive loss of blood. So the dextron being used as a substitute to provide energy. At times there is a loss of blood due to injury or any other trauma cases. That is about dextron. Dextrin. So it is nothing but an intermediate product that is being formed during the breakdown or hydrolysis of starch. It is a breakdown product, one of the modified form of what is called the glucose, and that is dextrin. It is being formed during the hydrolysis of starch. So it is most abundant in plants as well as in honey. So you know that what in the case of honey we have the sugar, the simple sugar, in the form of dextrose and levulose. That is dextrin, we can see. Dextrin or dextrose and levulose. These are the two types of monosaccharides found in the case of honey. So it is most abundant in the honey. That is nothing but a small, simple monosaccharide unit. That is a product normally produced during the breakdown of starch, some modified form of glucose. Now inulin. This is also another polysaccharide. So unlike starch, cellulose, glycogen, you have here the monomer is in the form of fructose, but it is also a polymer, a homopolymer being made up of similar units. So in starch, cellulose and glycogen, the unit is glucose. But in the case of inulin, it is again a homopolymer similar to starch and glycogen, but the unit is different. It is being formed of many monomers of fructose. The fructose sugar being present. Now it is normally acting as a reserve carbohydrate. It is being being stored as a reserve food, particularly in the roots and root tubers of chicory, the one which is adding a flavor to coffee powder while making a coffee powder, chicory. So it is being formed as a reserve carbohydrate that is particularly in the tubers and roots of chicory and also in the bulb of onions and garlic. In the bulb of onions and garlic, we have inulin, a kind of polysaccharide. The unit is fructose. It is acting as what is called a reserve carbohydrate. A storage form found only in the root tubers and roots of chicory and also in the bulb of onions and garlic. That's a very important one also, a reserve carbohydrate found only in the case of plants, not in the case of animals. Then the most important one also in relation to the examination point of view. So we have mucopolysaccharides, MPS, mucopolysaccharides. So you have actually, it is a heteropolymer, unlike starch, cellulose or glycogen or inulin. They are being formed of similar units, hence we can say the homopolymers. But this one, the mucopolysaccharide, is a heteropolymer because it is being formed of a long chain of polysaccharides, and that one is also consisting of alternating what is called just amino sugars. It is being formed of sugars along with amino sugars. That is why it is called heteropolymer. It is not only being formed of the polysaccharide, that is namely the sugar units, but also we have some other units being formed. They are nothing but the amino sugars. Alternating with the normal sugars, we have the amino sugars. The best example we can say hexosamine. Hexosamine. So this is a common name used for the mucopolysaccharide hexosamine. We have specific names also. It may be glucosamine or N-acetyl glucosamine or galactosamine. We have different types of hexosamine. Glucosamine, N-acetyl glucosamine or N-acetyl galactosamine or N-sulfate glucosamine, etc. These are all the different types of hexosamine. The common name only hexosamine. Mucopolysaccharide is actually a combination of sugars and amino sugars. Amino group is being formed along with the sugar molecule. That is why it is called amino sugar. The best example, the common name hexosamine. But we have different names for this hexosamine in different groups of actually the compounds. Glucosamine or N-acetyl glucosamine or galactosamine. Now let's see the important biologically available form of that is the MPS, the mucopolysaccharides. So the biologically important forms of MPS are, I have given here three. One, hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid. Now in the case of mammalian egg cell, in the mammalian egg cell we have some membranes, you know that one, zona pellucida, corona radiata, etc. So the corona radiata is being formed of follicle cells over the zona pellucida, the primary egg membrane of an egg. We have few layers of follicle cells also formed on the surface of zona pellucida together called as corona radiata, and which is being peeled off before fertilization. It's normally for the penetration of sperm into the egg. To remove the follicle cells are bound together by means of a cementing substance, what is called hyaluronic acid, one type of mucopolysaccharide responsible for cementing or joining the follicle cells. Now the sperm during penetration, the acrosome, the tip of the sperm, contains one chemical what is called hyaluronidase. And that enzyme is actually the sperm lysin, used for just actually dissolving this hyaluronic acid as cementing substance, cementing the follicle cells. And that is the one an example for MPS, mucopolysaccharide hyaluronic acid, not only found in the case of milk, it's also found in some other places. Then heparin. So when you hear this word heparin, you know that one, it is an anticoagulant. So in the human body, the blood is maintained in its fluid state, or we can say the fluidity of the blood is maintained because of the presence of an anticoagulant, which keeps the blood always in fluid state. That anticoagulant is nothing but heparin. Heparin. Likewise in the case of bleach, so this is anticoagulant, the one which prevents coagulation process, keep the blood in fluid state in human being, that is heparin. In the case of leech, we have another anticoagulant. You know that one, it is an ectoparasite sucking the blood from the cattle and also from animals. And for continuous flow blood, its saliva contains another anticoagulant that is called hirudin. So this is an anticoagulant, natural anticoagulant in the saliva of leech. A heparin, a natural anticoagulant present in the blood of human. Now the hirudin prevents the coagulation of blood while the leech sucks the blood from the host body. Now heparin is a polysaccharide, a mucopolysaccharide, whereas hirudin is a protein. That's the main difference between these two. Heparin, a polysaccharide, that way a mucopolysaccharide, a heteropolymer. Whereas hirudin, a protein, it is another anticoagulant formed in the case of leech saliva to just to keep the blood in fluid state for continuous flow of blood while sucking by the animal. Now let's see something about heparin. This is a comparison between these two, hirudin and heparin. So functionally both are similar, during the process of anticoagulation, preventing the coagulation process, and just structurally or chemically both are different. One is a protein, another one is a polysaccharide. Now this heparin, it is an anticoagulant, a heteropolymer. Then question came also in the NEET question paper, what is the chemical nature of heparin? Yes, so hirudin belongs to only the Hirudinaria granulosa, the leech, the class Hiridinia. It is not found in anywhere else. For example, if you take in the case of mosquito, the mosquito too have some actually anticoagulant in its saliva, that is called hemolysin. So the hemolysin is also an anticoagulant present in the saliva of what is called the mosquito. So it is an ectoparasite, you know that one. It also sucks blood from the cattle or from the animal body or from human body. For the continuous flow of blood, it contains an anticoagulant, what is called hemolysin. This is another anticoagulant for the case of mosquito. Even in the case of, you know that one, the cyclostomes, lampreys, it is also an ectoparasite. Lambetril, that is an anticoagulant present in the case of lampreys. The cyclostomes, we have studied already under the biodiversity. And the jawless vertebrate, one organism, lamprey, petromyzon, it also has actually an anticoagulant, what is called lambetril. So anyway, these are all the different types of what is called the anticoagulants, but hirudin is restricted only to the class Hiridinia and the animal leech or Hirudinaria granulosa, the name of the animal. Okay, let's pass on to the next one. So what is the chemical nature of heparin? That is a question. So it is an anticoagulant. I mentioned already it is an anticoagulant. But what is the chemical nature? It is N-sulfate glucosamine. The question is actually which one of the following substance contains nitrogen and sulfur? That is nothing but heparin. So in heparin we have both nitrogen and sulfur, that is why it's called N-sulfate glucosamine. Then the another substance here, you might hear this word, very common one. So it belongs to only Hirudinaria, so that is it belongs to only Hiridinia only. It belongs to Hiridinia only, that is named the Hirudin. That is, this is heparin in human being, whereas Hirudin is found only in Hiridinia class or Hirudinaria granulosa, the name of the animal. Okay, now the heparin, what is the chemical nature? So it contains both nitrogen and sulfur, so N-sulfate glucosamine. Another one what we hear, you know that one already, chitin. So it forms the exoskeleton of arthropods. So the arthropods have normally chitinous exoskeleton. So it is also a polysaccharide, a mucopolysaccharide. Also we can see a non-sugary carbohydrate. Non-sugary carbohydrate. No taste of sugar. Insoluble in water. For example, the case of cockroach, the wings, the exoskeleton, the brown colored structure is being formed of only chitin. It's a complex polysaccharide forming the exoskeleton of arthropods. You can see this one in the case of arthropods. Chitin is a polysaccharide. Don't forget that one. Again, it is a heteropoly. So what is the chemical nature? So it contains only nitrogen. There is no sulfur. N-acetyl glucosamine. So the difference between heparin and chitin. Heparin is also hexosamine or what is called MPS, mucopolysaccharide. This one is also a polysaccharide, a mucopolysaccharide. But the only difference, the first one heparin contains both nitrogen and sulfur, and this one contains only nitrogen. A nitrogen containing compound. This is the last year question, NEET question paper. NEET question paper, the asked question. So, which one of the following actually element or just actually the mineral is found in the case of chitin? Okay, the chitin contains only nitrogen. In the case of heparin, we have nitrogen and sulfur both being present. Don't forget these two statements. Now lipids. So far we have studied actually the macromolecule, the polysaccharide. So one of the macromolecules just actually we are getting from the acid insoluble fraction. The molecules having more than 10,000 daltons a molecular weight. Now the next one, the lipids. I mentioned already the lipids, though they have less molecular weight, they are also considered as a macromolecule because they not only present acid but also form in the cell membranes and also in the membranes of the various organelles. While we are grinding, the membranes are being broken into pieces. So they are being separated along with what is called acid insoluble fraction with the proteins. Then we have polysaccharides and also nucleic acids. So we have 4 different types of macromolecules or biomolecules. One we already completed, the carbohydrates. Now let's pass on to the second one, the lipids. You know, as a general rule, the lipids are insoluble. The fats and the fat derivatives together called as the lipids. They are highly insoluble in water but soluble in fat solvent. They are just like benzene, chloroform, ether, carbon tetrachloride. So these are all the fat solvents having the ability of dissolving the lipids. Now, what are the different types of lipids? Normally, these are all actually not considered as a polymer because they are not being formed of many long just monomers. They are simply considered as actually the lipids only. They are not polymeric substance like the carbohydrates. That is what we have studied so far, the glycogen and starch and cellulose or the proteins. So now we have, these are all generally insoluble, we know that one. They can be classified into simple lipids and compound lipids. And simple lipid is the one, it is nothing but esters of fatty acids and alcohol. So you know the bonding between an alcohol and acid is called ester bond. So anyway, the simple lipids normally contains esters of fatty acids and alcohol. These are the 2 main components. The linkage normally called as ester linkage because it's being formed between the acidic group and the alcoholic group. So the simple lipids are esters of fatty acids and alcohol. The best example generally we can say fats and waxes. What's the main difference between fats and waxes? So normally you see that when the fats are found most abundant in plants, but here there is one difference. In the case of fats, you have it is being formed of glycerol and fatty acids. It's being formed of glycerol and fatty acids. So the alcohol in the case of fats is a glycerol, whereas in the case of waxes it also contains fatty acids. Then what about the alcohol? The alcohol is actually not a glycerol. It is anything other than glycerol. It is not glycerol, but anything other than glycerol. So the fats contain actually glycerol, whereas actually the waxes contain fatty acids plus something other than glycerol. No glycerol being formed. Now, if you are taking the units, the fats are nothing but actually the esters of fatty acids and glycerol. These are the 2 important components. So normally the fatty acids has one group, what is called carboxyl group, and that group is attached to an R group. So whenever we are using the R group, it may be a different group. It may be a methyl group. Here it may be what is called ethyl group, or it may be a number of carbon groups, a large number of carbon groups. So generally speaking, a fatty acid being formed of a carboxyl group which is attached to an R group. Now what is the nature of the R group? There are 3 different types of R groups in a fat. So in a fatty acid, or we can say. So it may be a methyl group. The R group may be a methyl group, or it may be an ethyl group, or it may be a higher number of carbon groups. We'll see in the structure bit, higher number of carbon groups. So the maximum number of carbons in a fatty acid is 90. The minimum is 1. So if you have actually carbon groups attached to just normally the glycerol, the number of carbon atoms may be from 1 to 90. The maximum number of carbon atoms found in what is called the carbon groups, only 90. Say an example, the palmitic acid. It is nothing but a saturated fatty acid. It's an example of a fatty acid, a saturated fatty acid. It contains 16 carbon, including the carboxyl carbon. That means the R group contains 15 carbons in it. And similarly, another important essential fatty acid or unsaturated fatty acid, what is called arachidonic acid. It has 20 carbon atoms, including the carboxyl carbon. So it has a maximum number of 90. So in the R group, just we have 90 carbons plus 1 carbon from the carboxyl group. So we have an arachidonic acid, the total number of carbon just normally 20. So the maximum number only 19 in a group. Okay, then even in the case of oleic acid, the oleic acid also has 20 carbon atoms, including the carboxyl one. So we have the maximum number of carbon atoms in, that is what is called the carbon groups, that is nothing but an R group, is 19 only. So palmitic acid 19. In the case of, for example, oleic acid 19. Then in the case of arachidonic acid you have 50. So like that, so on. So here just I mentioned 60, including the carboxyl carbon. Now we have the fatty acids. So we have the following types of fatty acids. So based on certain aspects, the fatty acids are classified into two types. One, saturated fatty acids, another one, unsaturated fatty acids. So what are the properties of saturated and unsaturated fatty acids? Here I have given only main three important properties. One is based on the nature of matter, the physical appearance. Normally, saturated fatty acids are solid at room temperature, the physical appearance, whereas unsaturated fatty acids are liquid at room temperature. So normally the saturated fatty acids are found mainly in animals. That is why we have solid fat. You see that one, animal fats contain mainly the saturated fatty acids, more saturated fatty acids. But normally the case of vegetable fats, vegetable oils, that is why we are using the word not vegetable fats, vegetable oil, because they are always in a liquid state. So vegetable fats contain more of unsaturated fatty acids, very least negligible number of saturated fatty acids. That's the second difference. So one solid in room temperature, here liquid at room temperature. Normally just the saturated fatty acids are most abundant in animal fats, and we have the vegetable fats contain more unsaturated fatty acids. That is why the vegetable oils we are using, they were not using the word vegetable fats, vegetable oil. The sulfur oil, sunflower oil, ginger oil, all contain unsaturated fatty acids. That is why they are always in liquid state at room temperature. Then, normally between the carbon atoms, there are double bonds in the case of unsaturated fatty acids. But here there are no double bonds between the saturated fatty acids. The examples I mentioned are palmitic acid and stearic acid. These are all examples for saturated fatty acids. Then we have unsaturated fatty acids, oleic acid. That is what is called linoleic acid, linolenic acid, oleic acid, linoleic acid, linolenic acid, arachidonic acid. These are all some of the examples of unsaturated fatty acids. You may have heard about PUFA. I think so, PUFA. Polyunsaturated fatty acids. Polyunsaturated fatty acids. What is the importance of polyunsaturated fatty acids? That is nothing but a collection of many unsaturated fatty acids available only in the plant. You know that one, saffrola and canola oil. These are all rich in polyunsaturated fatty acids. The canola oil obtained from the seeds of Helianthus anise, the sunflower, and saffrola from the safflower seeds. You know that one, that is Canthamus tinctorius. These are all the two plants from which we are getting either canola or saffrola. Both are rich in PUFA, and doctors are normally prescribing such unsaturated fatty acids to the people who are having some heart ailments or the diseases, because these are all capable of undergoing easiest to break down. unsaturated fatty acids are being broken easily by oxidation process, whereas the saturated fats, they cannot be oxidized easily. That is why doctors always advise you to use the polyunsaturated fatty acids, the most abundant fatty acids in sunflower oil and safflower oil, because they can have the ability of undergoing easiest oxidative breakdown. Okay, so these are all some of the differences. Only few differences are taken as per the examination point of view. Solid and liquid. Then we have more saturated fatty acids in the case of just animal fats, unsaturated fatty acids in the case of vegetable oils. And then between the carbon compounds or carbon atoms, we have double bonds in the case of unsaturated. And then here no double bonds between chemically, just a chemical structure between the carbons in the case of saturated fatty acids. Now we also another word, essential fatty acid, is simply called as EFA. Some of the fatty acids are certain fatty acids which are highly specific, having specific nutritional value. Some fatty acids are having high nutritional value or specific nutritional value. Such fatty acids are called essential fatty acids. Those which are needed, required by the body essentially. So they are highly specific because they have specific nutritional value. They are being considered as an important one. Once again, most of the unsaturated fatty acids are essential fatty acids. What I listed there, for example, the same one, linoleic acid, linolenic acid, arachidonic acid. These are all unsaturated fatty acids, but the body needs it badly because they have high nutritive value, some specific nutritive value. So only the unsaturated fatty acids are considered as essential fatty acids because of specific nutritional value. And normally, I mentioned already, these unsaturated fatty acids are polyunsaturated fatty acids. We are shortly saying that is what's called PUFA, most abundant in vegetable fats. Then, what is glycerol? So, suppose you are taking, for example, fat, it is nothing but an esterified compound of alcohol and fatty acids. So, one thing we have just one of the components of a fat, that is fatty acids. Now, what is the next component? We have glycerol. Both combined together, both are esterified to form a fat. Now, the glycerol, it is another simple lipid. So, while we are separating the fatty acids and glycerol, we can say these are all simple lipids. The components of simple lipids, we have, for example, the fatty acids and the glycerol. So, that is why we can say it is another simple lipid, which is nothing but a trihydroxypropane. You can see the molecular structure soon. So, it is a trihydroxypropane. So, here I have given some of the molecular structure of some lipids. One, the fatty acid. See that one in the case of oleic acid, this is a carboxyl group. Removing this carbon, you can have nearly 19 carbon atoms in the case of oleic acid. Then in the case of glycerol, I mentioned that is actually trihydroxypropane. Now the cholesterol, the long molecule, you see that one. This is a structure of what is called a cholesterol. So you see we have many rings A, B, C, D. Then along with you see that the carbon, the number of carbon atoms, nearly 27 carbons I mentioned here. The number of carbon atoms in cholesterol. So the total number of carbon atoms in here, cholesterol is 27. That is why here the numbers indicating the total number of carbon atoms. Know that when the cholesterol is normally highly not degradable, that's why it is being deposited on the inner walls of the blood vessels, causing damage to the body, creating some problems, that is creating blood pressure, many heart related disorders. I mentioned already, actually many lipids are both fatty acids and glycerol. I mentioned already. So normally the fatty acids are found esterified with the glycerol. This is the common statement what I made earlier. So a fat is nothing but actually esterified glycerol. Esterified glycerol with fatty acid, or it is nothing but ester of fatty acids and glycerol we can say. So according to the number of fatty acids found in a simple lipid, we can classify the simple lipids into monoglyceride, diglycerides and triglycerides. So in the case of monoglyceride, actually, I'll show the picture now. Now this is a monoglyceride. See here, this is a glycerol and with one fatty acid. So a molecule of fatty acid and a molecule of glycerol esterified to form a monoglyceride. one fatty acid, one glycerol. Now it is a diglyceride. So this is the glycerol. We have normally it is esterified with fatty acid 1 and fatty acid 2. It's a diglyceride. So 1 molecule of glycerol plus 2 molecules of fatty acid. Here 1 molecule of glycerol plus 1 molecule of fatty acid. Now a triglyceride. You see that one, this is what is called the glycerol unit. We have fatty acid 1, fatty acid 2 and fatty acid 3. For example, stearic acid, tristearine. So a tristearine consists of actually, that is 1 molecule of glycerol plus 3 stearic acid. 3 stearic acid, that's why it's called as tristearine. So this is the structural aspect of a triglyceride. What is called tristearine. It's formed of 3 molecules of stearic acid plus 1 molecule of glycerol. So based on the number of fatty acids, we can have monoglyceride, diglyceride and triglyceride. So normally the simple lipids also called as these monoglycerides or diglycerides or triglycerides, whatever may be the number or whatever may be the name, they are called as fats and oils. So we can say actually the monoglycerides, diglycerides, triglycerides are simply the fats we can say. So simply the lipids. The lipids are also classified as fats and oils based on the nature of the melting point. Lipids also called either fats or oils based on the melting point. So normally fats or lipids having saturated fatty acids, and that is why they are having what is called high melting point. For example, the adipose tissue of human body. Adipose tissue of human body. So animal fats or normally the animal lipids are called the fats. Animal lipids are called subfats. And these fats have higher melting point. What is the reason? Because all these fats are being made up of or formed of mainly saturated fatty acids. So animal fats, the animal lipids are called fats. This is because of the reason, because they have the high melting point. What is the reason? They have high concentration of saturated fatty acids. Then about the oils, I mentioned already the vegetable oil. So the vegetable oils, they are called as oils, not fats, because they contain more unsaturated fatty acids. That is why they have low melting point. So the lower melting point is due to the presence of unsaturated fatty acids. So oils are rich in unsaturated fatty acids. That is why they have lower melting point. So fats are rich in fats are rich in saturated fatty acids. That is why they have high melting point. They are found abundant in animals, whereas the vegetable oils are found abundant in the case of plants. This is based on the melting point. Fats, high melting point with saturated fatty acids. Oils, that is low melting point with more unsaturated fatty acids. That's why always in liquid state in room temperature. Now, so we have simple lipids. Simple lipids are either triglycerides or monoglycerides or diglycerides. Even wax is an example of a simple lipid. Now let's pass on to the second type of lipids, compound lipids or conjugated lipids. So they are being formed of actually, in addition to the fatty acids and glycerol, some other chemical groups. That is why they are called as a compound lipids. So compound lipids normally contain fatty acids plus glycerol plus some other chemical compounds. So they have, in addition to the alcohol and fatty acids, what we call this one, glycerol, they too have some other chemical compounds. The best examples mainly the animal body. We have phospholipids, then we have glycolipids and lipoproteins. These are the best examples, phospholipids, glycolipids and lipoproteins. You know, hence it contains abundance of phospholipids in its group. Nearly about 32.6% of phospholipids is found in the case of yolk of hen's egg. In the case of bird's egg, they are the richest source of phospholipids. Nearly about 32.6% of phospholipids present in hen's yolk. That is what we are just taking That is why doctors are advising not to take much this one. Those having elevated blood pressure and also diseases or ailments related to the heart. So it cannot be digested because of these phospholipids. They cannot be easily broken, unlike the simple lipids. Now, phospholipids, one example, phospholipids. The name itself implies, you see that one, the next group in addition to the fatty acids and glycerol, we have phosphorus. They have phosphorus and also phosphorylated organic compound. Normally they have phosphorus and the phosphorylated organic compound in them. Now the best examples, you have to recall this one, bear in mind. And one person asked a question about what is the nature of the head and what is the nature of the tail in the case of just any fat. And I already answered that one. He has given the answer in a reverse manner, but actually, if you take any phospholipid or any other one, normally the lipid consists of a head and then tail. The head is normally hydrophilic, the tail is hydrophobic. Any fat, if you are taking the fat molecule, the head is normally hydrophilic in nature, the tail is hydrophobic. For example, here in the case of phospholipid, we have the head. The head normally contains, we have glycerol, then phosphate. Glycerol and phosphate. Whereas the tail region, it is called hydrophobic, mainly formed of what is called the fatty acids. So, what is given is nothing but a phospholipid. Whether it is a phospholipid or any other lipid, the head is mainly formed of glycerol and it is always hydrophilic in nature. Whereas the tail is formed of fatty acids only. It's always actually hydrophobic in nature. So a phospholipid with a hydrophobic head, now this is hydrophilic head, and also this one the tail hydrophobic tail. Hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail. You can see the structure. You can get the idea easily. You see that one, the head in a phospholipid is formed of phosphorus or phosphate, the group, and also glycerol. The head is formed of mainly glycerol. If it is a combo lipid, it contains another, that is a compound in addition to what is called glycerol. That is normally hydrophilic. So the head is hydrophilic in nature. Whereas the tail is hydrophobic. The tail is formed of mainly just many fatty acids. So there is a nature of that one. Look at the picture carefully and then just give the answer. The head is always hydrophilic. The tail is always hydrophobic. The head mainly contains glycerol. The tail mainly contains the fatty acids. That's the main, just a structural aspect. Even here we are considering the phospholipid. If it is a phospholipid, in the head, in addition to the glycerol, we have the phosphate. That's the main difference. Don't forget, the head is always having glycerol. Now, what are the other examples of what are the main examples of phospholipids? Lecithin. So it forms actually the cell membrane, cephalin, a kind of phospholipid present in the brain. And then sphingomyelin, it is another phospholipid present in the brain tissues. And thromboplastin, one of the factors taking part in blood clotting process, responsible for converting the prothrombin to thrombin, one of the sequences happening during clotting process. And it is one of the factors, thromboplastin. So prothrombin, just actually you have fibrinogen, prothrombin, thromboplastin, this is what is called factor number 3. And calcium, so we have nearly 12 factors of taking part in clotting process. One of the factors in clotting process or coagulation process, thromboplastin, it is factor number 3. It is Roman letter, that is factor number 3. So, I mentioned already the phospholipids are most abundant in egg yolk. Don't forget the percentage also, 32.6% what I mentioned. And what are the components in a phospholipid? I mentioned earlier, fatty acids, glycerol, the phosphate group, along with one nitrogenous base, choline. This is a nitrogenous base. So these are all the different components in some phospholipids, not in the case of all the phospholipids. In some phospholipids, we have the nitrogenous base, what is called the choline, also present. Then, lipoprotein. You know that one, the cell membrane is a lipoprotein structure, formed of protein plus, that is a lipids. Then sphingomyelin, one of the phospholipids found abundant in the nerve cells. abundant in the nerve cells, that is the brain, as well as in the nerve cells. So most abundant in the nerve cells of the brain. So this is all something related to the lipids. So we have completed the products. Number 1, the macromolecular fraction. Number 1, the polysaccharides. Number 2, we have the lipids. We have to pass on to the next two, the nucleic acids, and also that is the proteins. And before that, we have to know some bonding between the monomers during the formation of a polymer. So the nature of bond. What is the nature of bond? Linking monomers in a polymer. What is the nature of bond? Linking or joining the monomers in a polymer. So normally in the case of biomolecules, we can get 3 different types of bonding. One, a peptide bond. Another one, a glycosidic bond or linkage. The third one also we have what is called ester bond, ester linkage. So these are the 3 major bonds as far as the biomolecules concerned. Now let's take actually what is the nature of bond in different macromolecules used for linking of the monomers in a polymer. So in a polymer, you know that we have many units. These units are joined together by means of bonding. Now what is the nature of bond responsible for linking the monomers in a polymer? Number 1, the peptide bond. So this peptide bond is normally found in a polypeptide chain, that is the polypeptide chain, or we can say in proteins between the amino acids. See, in a protein or a polypeptide chain, the building blocks of proteins or the polypeptide chains are nothing but the amino acids. The amino acids in a protein are linked together by means of a peptide bond. So a peptide bond is normally formed between the carboxyl group of one amino acid and the amino group of the adjacent amino acid. During the formation of bond, what is called the peptide bond, CONH bond. So we can have the CONH called the peptide bond. A molecule of water being eliminated. So a peptide bond is formed between the amino group of one amino acid and the carboxyl group of another amino acid by dehydration process. That is why during the process of protein digestion, what is happening? If you want to break the bond, you have to add a molecule of water. The main function of proteolytic enzyme or any enzyme is to add a molecule of water at the bond which is to be broken. So the bond which is to be cleaved or the bond which is to be broken is added with a molecule of water by the enzyme. That is why we can say digestion is also called hydrolysis. The another name for digestive process, hydrolysis. This is because of the breakage of bond by adding a molecule of water. Now I will show the picture of the formation of the peptide bond. See that one. So this is the amino acid. Now there all amino acids are called alpha amino acids because the carbon atom is alpha carbon. See that one. Here the bond is formed between the carboxyl group of one amino acid and the amino group of another amino acid, so that we can have the elimination of a molecule of water. In all cases during the linkage, what will happen? A molecule of water will be eliminated. In all cases, if you want to break this linkage, we have to add a molecule of water so that the bond may be broken. That is what is happening. So this is a peptide bond that is formed between the carboxyl group and the amino group. Now the second bond, glycosidic bond. It is normally formed between the 2 sugar molecules actually in a polysaccharide. So we have in a polysaccharide mentioned already that individual monosaccharides are linked together by means of glycosidic bond. It is normally formed between just the 2 carbon atoms of the 2 monosaccharides. So I mentioned already in the case of, for example, the linkage, glycosidic linkage between the first carbon atom of one sugar and the 4th carbon atom of another sugar, that is called 1,4 linkage. If there is any branch or any side chain, then we can have the linkage is being formed between the first carbon and the 6th carbon, as in the case of, for example, glycogen. So here also a molecule of water is eliminated by dehydration process. You see that one, it is a glycosidic linkage. We can say 1,4 just actually linkage. So now this is actually the first carbon atom, this is the 4th carbon atom. The linkage is always formed between the first and 4th. If it is a side chain, it is being formed between the first and the 6th carbon atom of the adjacent glucose molecule. So this is called 1,4 glycosidic linkage. 1,4 glycosidic. Now the third one, phosphodiester bond. So in the case of nucleic acid, you know that one, the backbone is formed of sugar and phosphate. So we can have normally in a nucleic acid sugar. I'm taking in this manner, one strand. The backbone of nucleic acid is formed of sugar and phosphate molecules which are arranged alternatively. Sugar and phosphate. Now here, a phosphodiester bond, a ester linkage is formed. Normally on either side, this is one ester linkage, this is another ester linkage. So here we have the third carbon atom, here we have just the fifth carbon atom. So normally ester linkage is formed between the third carbon atom of one sugar of one nucleotide to the phosphoric acid, and also the fifth carbon atom of another sugar of another nucleotide. So this is one ester linkage formed between the third carbon and the phosphate group. This is another ester linkage formed between the fifth carbon atom and the phosphate group. So on either side, as there is, you see that one, two ester linkages, one on either side of this phosphate group. This is called phosphodiester linkage. So I'll show you the picture. So in nucleic acids, normally you have this phosphodiester linkage or phosphodiester bond. So in a nucleic acid, a phosphate moiety, that is a phosphate group, links the third carbon of one sugar of one nucleotide to the fifth carbon of the sugar of another nucleotide. And you can see this one here normally. Now this is one sugar. This is the fifth carbon atom having what is called the phosphate moiety. And this is fifth carbon atom. Now this is the third carbon atom. This is the fifth. Now here this is the phosphate linking this third carbon of this one sugar and the fifth carbon of another sugar. As there are, you see that one, two ester linkages. This is called phosphodiester linkage. You see that one clearly here. So now this is the formation, phosphodiester bond formation being formed third and fifth carbon. Third carbon of one sugar of one nucleotide, the fifth carbon of another sugar of another nucleotide. This is the phosphate group. So this is the molecular structure. Now see that one, this is the phosphate group. This is the third position of the carbon of that sugar, and this is the fifth carbon of this sugar. So a linkage being formed, as there is ester linkage on either side. So this is called phosphodiester linkage, normally formed in the case of nucleic acids. So that is about the third type of linkage. See, phosphomide links the third carbon of one sugar of one nucleotide to the fifth carbon of a sugar of the succeeding nucleotide. As there are two just linkages on either side, each of the phosphate, it is called phosphodiester linkage. There is phosphoric acid plus hydroxyl group of sugar, that is the ester linkage. You know the meaning for that one. Ester linkage is always formed between just normally the acidic group as well as the alcoholic group, or what is called the hydroxyl group. Now, the third macromolecule. So you will study more about this macromolecule, namely the nucleic acid in 12th standard under the molecular basis of inheritance. I would like to teach that one better for that one. Here we have to know something about the macromolecule. So it is one of the macromolecules, just what we have received in the case of acid insoluble fraction. The third type of macromolecule, the nucleic acid. So it is nothing but another macromolecule found in the case of acid insoluble fraction. And you know that one, a nucleic acid is formed of a long chain of nucleotides. That is why it is called as a polynucleotide. That is one of the important macromolecular present of all living tissues. Also considered as a true macromolecular fraction, because in all the cells you have this nucleic acid definitely present. Then what it is considered as a living organism. That is why we can say now it is a polynucleotide that constitutes what is called the true macromolecular fraction of any living tissue or a cell. Suppose you are taking the building block. If you are taking the building block of cellulose, it is nothing but glucose, starch, glucose. Then we have, for example, that is glycogen, glucose. If you are taking, for example, inulin, it is fructose. That is what is called the building block. Likewise, the nucleic acids are made up of the building blocks. The building blocks of nucleic acids are called nucleotides. So if you are taking a nucleic acid, it is a polynucleotide strand. If it is a DNA, it is formed of two strands, each strand being formed of many units is what are called the nucleotides, hence called polynucleotide strand. And normally, and if you're taking RNA or DNA, in the case of RNA, it is being formed of a single strand made up of many nucleotides, that is why it's called polynucleotides. And if you're taking DNA, it is a double-stranded structure having many nucleotides in each strand, that is also considered as a polynucleotide. So, anyway, the nucleic acid is a macromolecular fraction, just normally obtained in an acid insoluble fraction while we are treating the cell components by means of what is called trichloroacetic acid. So, it is the third one, a macromolecular structure, a macromolecular fraction. That too considered as a true macromolecular fraction found in all the living cells. That's why we are using the word true macromolecular fraction. So in some cases, you know that lipids may be absent. In some cases, the concentration of protein may be less. But including viruses, you know that one, though they have no protoplasm, but they have the true molecular fraction, the macromolecular fraction in them also. That's why you're using the word true macromolecular fraction. Though other fractions are found or not, we have the nucleic acids always present in all the cells. Then, actually, the building blocks of nucleic acids are nucleotides. Each nucleotide is being formed of 3 components. We'll continue that one in the next class as one at a time. I'm closing my lecture. So you have any right to ask any question related to that one, or pose a question. I'm ready to answer relevant to the topic or related to, for example, the topic, any other topic in zoology. Thank you. The class is complete. We'll meet once again.